Okay, so a lot of people heard of a psychic, a medium. Well, what would you call yourself?
I think I'm called sensitive because I'm aware of things that other people aren't aware of.
Now, what is a sensitive for people who don't know?
People that are aware of spiritual activity that the normal person wouldn't be able to see or detect.
And how long has this been going on?
Since I was 5.
Can you describe what happened when you're 5 that made this?
I woke up to my mom and my sister crying, looking out the back kitchen window, and I asked what was wrong, and they said Polly had died. It's a neighbor we've known since I was little. And I looked out the window and saw Polly on the grass, all dressed in her nightgown and hair down in the 50s, and she looked up and waved at us.
And, well, your parents or the people that were with you didn't see her, though?
No.
And you did?
I can see her vividly. It's completely
as vivid as you and me?
Vivid as I see you.
And you didn't say anything to your...
I couldn't. I knew I'd be in trouble for telling lies and fibs and things like that. So you just keep quiet.
How many spirits live in your house?
At least one.
So you hear things, you feel things.
Things move, things moved. We hear things all the time. We smell things all the time. That's a biggie. A spoon comes out of off the stove and lands very gracefully in the spaghetti because it needs to be stirred.
You tell me that story. Can you kind of go through what happened?
A girlfriend and I were sitting at the kitchen table, and she was facing the stove, and I was there, and the stove's there, and her face just dropped. So I looked over at what she was looking at, the stove, and a spoon. We have a stove with a shelf at the top. The spoon very carefully, and I caught it about right. That's when I caught it, about right then. It came and landed ever so gracefully, without a splash, into the spaghetti. Kind of like...
Basically like levitating, right?
It levitated
basically
gracefully and turned and landed in the spaghetti and like I need to be stirred.
Now, why do people see things and some people don't?
Okay, my theory is you're hardwired or not, and if you are... My husband, when I first met him, was a total skeptic, but now that he's had this opened up to him, he sees and hears things he wouldn't have before. But I think there's people who are completely just shut off to the possibility, and you couldn't get them to hear or see anything no matter what.
I recently interviewed a pastor that said basically there's only 2 options, heaven or hell. Do you think there's other options beside heaven or hell?
There has to be, unless heaven and hell can intertwine with this reality. Otherwise, we wouldn't have so much activity here on earth.
You did a lot of research, and we cannot confirm it's true, right? But you did a lot of research, and you talked to a lot of people in your life that you believe that there was some type of covenant in Merced, right?
Supposedly the founding fathers back in the 20s formed a coven here, and it included bank presidents and important people in town.
And this took place at...
Supposedly, in front of the courthouse, sacrifices were made, and I was told never to go into the courthouse on a full moon. And then I guess because it became too well known they were there, they quietly secluded themselves off to have their activities at the lake.
Lake Yosemite.
Yeah.
And this is from the research that you did and people you talked to.
I tried to talk to any older person who lived here at the time, and they were very clear that they were either, yes, absolutely there was a coven, and absolutely there was not. There was no one that said they didn't know.
What's one place in Merced that just screams out, I don't want to go inside?
That would be the Tioga Hotel.
Now, what's so bad about the Tioga?
I don't know.
That you believe?
When I walked up to the elevator in the when we first moved here, which would have been mid-80s, I wanted to talk to somebody who lived in the top penthouse, and I couldn't bring myself to touch the door of the elevator. Mm-hmm. And a girlfriend who used to go play spooky stuff with me when I was way younger was with me, and we both agreed it's not a comfortable place. And then later we got a tour, and we did go upstairs to the top, and it's very uncomfortable.
So why do you believe it's so uncomfortable up there? In your opinion?
It's just not a comfortable place. It's not something I would want, a place I would want to live at all.
What side of Merced is the most active, you believe?
Downtown, the older section.
And why is that?
I think there's something happened in the 20s.
And this is from research that you did, right?
There was a lot of unusual murder and mayhem in the 20s. And of course the town, that's as far as the town was. It was concentrated in that area. So maybe it kind of naturally follows that's where it would be.
Well, do you believe in witches?
Yes.
Good witches or bad witches?
Both.
Do you know any?
Yes. They refer to themselves as Wiccan.
Okay. Same thing. Wiccan, witchcraft.
You're playing with Mother Nature.
So it exists. For the people who don't know, because people think of witches like Wizard of Oz witch.
Oh yeah.
Right?
That's
And
a
they don't-
classic, yeah.
Right. Give me one memory you recall that happened. That's, I guess you can say, paranormal.
Chillingham Castle in England is extremely active.
Okay,
That's
so-
a delight.
What happened there?
When we went to the chapel on the tour, I had the need to sit on the chapel steps, and I sat down, and without a doubt, there's a monk in front of me, at least in my sight of my head, not necessarily standing in front of me. I could see or sense a monk. I could only see from his waist down, and a young girl, a blonde young girl dressed in servant poor clothing, standing in front of him, begging for him to save her. And the monk made no motion, no speaking, nothing. Somebody, a man in chainmail, came behind her and grabbed her blonde hair and pulled her away. And that's all
And you
it
started
was.
crying, right? 'Cause-
Instantly.
Now, how did you visually see that, or is this in your mind? How does that work when you see these types of?
That's also hard. We call it getting, because you don't know how you get it, but you know it.
Right.
You just know it. You see it. You feel it. That's what sensitives do, I guess.
And real quick, the history of that place. You said that some people used to take women and put them in barrels.
Roll them down to the lake to see who won. It was a war castle between King Edward I and William Wallace. Thank you.
Okay.
The castle was a war castle that either King Edward I or William Wallace possessed. And the troops would be bored, so they'd roll ladies down the hill onto the lake.
And these ladies would die.
Yeah, they drowned.
And they did it for fun?
Fun. For entertainment in between fighting.
And do you think that's someone that you've seen that might have died? Or do you think that's
I
something
don't
else?
know. I didn't tell you the next trip out there at 3 o'clock in the morning. We were the only ones in the castle, except for the managers with their way downstairs, and I woke for some reason at 3 in the morning, and there was a knock on the door to the room, and it was a knock from the door where they found a little boy encased in the wall. I didn't tell you about that. You couldn't have got me out of the bed.
Some people that are watching this will call you crazy. Crazy lady.
I'm sure.
Crazy old lady.
I'm sure.
What would your response be?
Have a nice day.